He has worked under 4 different sheriffs as leaders of that department until he was appointed the sheriff here in Houston County in 2014 by Governor Robert Bentley, and then was elected to serve the following year. So with no further ado, Sheriff Donald Valenza.
Speak down here and make it a little easier.
I want to thank y'all for having me come out again today. For those that don't know me that well, I've avoided cameras for 35 years in the department. I've come here several times so far, so this is getting me a little bit more ease at home when I speak to people in front of the cameras and stuff. I've got a few things I want to talk about today that I think is very important. We've talked about it before, but I think now is the time we really need to hit on it and try to understand it. 2 things I want to clear up real quick. You know, everybody has their own interpretation of what meanings on different phrases may mean. I'm going to tell you mine, profiling. Okay? Profiling, to me, is confirmed statistical data collected that will reflect a problem or an issue that needs to be addressed. It has no color, has no variations, you know, has no particular individual. We go by stats. We go by history. Definition of history is an event that happened that we try not. 80% of the time, history is not good, in my opinion. We try to not repeat our mistakes, and we try to correct it to make it better. Those two pieces in mind, I'm going to talk real quick, and like I said, I'm not sure how much time we got, but I'll try to get through it. You know, we've had a lot of legislation on gun control. I'm a firm believer of the Second Amendment. I think everybody ought to have a gun. I think you should know how to use a gun. There's a lot of classes that do teach it. They've come up, they've tried changing laws. I'm going to tell you a couple. You know, our government right now, I love our county, I love our country, but right now we're going through some times with our country right now, and you'll see what I'm talking about. It's reflecting back on everybody. We look at carry laws, gun laws. I'm going to show you one federal gun law that they're not even talking about. That's one of the biggest loopholes we're dealing with here at the Houston County Sheriff's Office. A couple of other laws did not get passed, and I don't want y'all to think we're against y'all having guns, but I'm going to explain why it wasn't good that they didn't pass, because you don't know the whole side of the story. And this will all lead to what I'll talk about near the end. Basically, you know, we have, Alabama's fortunate you can't possess firearms. We have what we call the open carry law, which means technically you could have worn a gun in the open even before these laws passed. It was under the old Alabama law. You just couldn't ride in a vehicle with it. Now they've changed where you can actually get in a vehicle without a permit, but the gun has to be unloaded in a lockbox where you can't put your hands on it. That's not any good if you're going to get carjacked. Okay? You know, I spoke to an open carry group, and they asked me. I said, well, you know, our permits in Houston County, which is the local bill that was passed, is $20 a year. You can do a 5-year permit. Well, he says, well, why do I want to pay $20 if I can put it in my car? I said, well, you know, there's pros and cons. I said, first you want it for protection. You don't want to have to put it in there and not be able to get to it if you need it to protect you or your family. I said, but you can do $20 a year here, and 24 states honor Alabama. We got a list of all the reciprocals that honor our permit. And I said, being you never go to Florida, don't worry about it. He says, well, I go to Florida all the time. I said, exactly, we border Florida. Here it's $20 a year for a permit that Florida honors. If you don't want to do the permit, go to Florida, get arrested for not having an Alabama permit, and $20,000 might get you off of that felony. He thought more about the $20. Some of the things they tried, you know, in the vehicle, our opposition was, in a vehicle without a permit, there's no doubt there's a lot of good people. But we know there's certain laws on the books. We have shooting into an occupied dwelling, shooting to an unoccupied dwelling, they're felonies. We have shooting into an occupied vehicle is a felony. One reason these laws came about was because of gang-style activity, gang-style shootings, shooting up the houses, shooting up the cars with them in it. So it is a serious consideration. In our opinion, if you do this, and this is the association, Alabama Sheriff Association, if we have 5 subjects in a car, 4 of them are convicted felons, 1 of them's not, and there's 5 guns in the car, we know what they're up to. There is absolutely nothing we could do as far as even touching this group. That law did not pass. Trust me, we still are very fortunate to have the right to carry firearms, and I think you should exercise it. As I said, you ought to know how to handle it before you get it, because otherwise you could become a victim of your own cause. Alabama was one of the only states that passed a law, 18 to 21 could possess a legal Alabama permit. However, none of the other states wanted to honor it. They all said you had to be 21, they want to go with the federal law. There is no federal law on possessing a handgun. Federal law says it's 21 to purchase. Since then, Mississippi has joined. You can get one now at 18 and carry it also. We had one issue. This was disturbing to me. We passed, or Alabama passed it, where retired military with good record, honorable discharge, you can obtain your pistol permit from the county you live in at no cost. I have no problem with that. But the way the law was worded, and portions of it in the beginning, it's not saying disabled retiree. I think in my opinion, it's just my opinion, we should include combat veterans. I mean, if you get your leg blown off by a roadside bomb, it's not your fault. You can't do a 20-year tour in our military. I wish they would have included the disabled combat veterans. Maybe they will in a later day. They try to get it where we can go to any county and pick up your permit. That's not good. We had a guy here, I won't say no names, some of y'all may know him. He worked for the school system, he drove a bus. He had a wreck, he had some back surgery, and he was on multiple high-octane painkillers. And he was talking out of his head. Might be a good guy, I really don't know him that well, but they got him driving the bus full of kids with his knees while he was texting on our school bus, Houston County. They were going to terminate, and he goes on Facebook and talks about how people's doing him wrong and he can take them out. That is actually the only one we denied a permit to that did not have a felony conviction or a protection order or a domestic violence conviction. By the things he posted. Well, he left here and went to Coffee County, where his son has the exact name, except Junior, and obtains a permit in Coffee County. Well, when the sheriff found out there, he went ahead and revoked it. That was another reason we were against. You should get it in the county you live in, because the government here knows you and can vouch for you, or can tell them what type of person you are if you choose to go otherwise. This is probably the worst that I've seen in my career. Right now, the state of Alabama petition, I think there's 16 other states doing it, petition ATF, alcohol, tobacco, and firearms, to be able to use a concealed carry permit to buy a firearm from a licensed dealer without any background check. In other words, we have stipulations that will stop you from owning a gun. Domestic violence conviction, that's federal. Protection order, anywhere, that's federal. But the way it comes out now, if Judge Davenport was to issue a commitment order, and you go off to Taylor Hardin or one of these facilities, technically under law you're ineligible to possess a firearm. That goes to the federal, in the data banks, we call it NICS. Well, they got it now where you can go into a gun shop, show them you concealed carry, and they run no background check on you at all. I had one of our deputies Barry Tucker worked 28 years with the state troopers in ABI, goes to buy a gun, and they say, well, you have a concealed carry? I don't have to run a background check on you. He says, no, I don't have a concealed carry. I have my ID. I work at the sheriff's department. Oh, no, we got to run you. So, in other words, if you do have a conviction before your permit expires, you know, I'll revoke you, in the systems you revoke, but as long as you got that ID card, they don't run you, they're going to sell a gun to a convicted felon. Simple as that. We're opposing that law. The 1033 program, we have got a few things lately. 1033 is what President Obama was trying to stop. He made the comment that our peace officers are becoming warriors. That is not what they are. They're peace officers. Well, let me tell you something. The stuff that we got from the 1033, helmets, we did get some rifles. We got some fully automatic rifles. The stuff that we get from them is nothing that we couldn't buy if we had the money. In other words, they're not selling us 18-4 rocket launchers and stuff like that. We're using stuff that can be purchased anywhere in the United States. It just doesn't cost us because we don't have the budget for it. That's what they were trying to stop at one time. They're opening back up a little bit, but he keeps saying we're not warriors. Well, let me tell you something. After Thursday night, I think we're all warriors. You got to be able to put your mind in a mindset to go from a peace officer to a warrior. I mean, this is some of the worst times I've ever seen. This stuff hadn't just started. I'll give you a few examples. 1972, New York, 10 members of a local mosque phoned in a call and ambushed responding officers to the call. 1973, Muslim extremists responded to a sporting goods store. Police arrived, and there was a shootout with the police and the Islamic movement back then. 1973, Washington, D.C., Nation of Islam members shoot and kill 7 members of a family, including 4 children. You know, we are having issues. And I'm not, we go back to profiling. If you own a 7-Eleven, and Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, whether it's a white male or a black male, comes in with a red shirt and robs you each night, then no one in this room can tell me on Saturday when he comes in with a red shirt if you're going to say, I'm going to get robbed again. There he is again. There's another one. That's perception. You know, it's wrong. It can be thought of wrong. But a lot of times, facts are facts. I experienced what happened in Dallas Thursday night. I experienced that when I was a senior in high school. I was a senior in high school in New Orleans, and we had the Howard Johnson incident. Mark Essex, former Marine. Back then, the Black Panther movement was big. And I don't know what triggered him off, but he went into the Howard Johnson Motel. And he was on the 19th floor, set fire to the building. The fire trucks arrived, first 2 up the ladder. He shoots the first 2 firemen off the ladder. This went on for 3 days. 3 days, we thought it was great. We didn't have to go to class. We stayed and watched the TV the whole time. And back then, they didn't have a SWAT team. The only one that had SWAT was LAPD. History, there it is again. We learn from mistakes. I think there was 4 officers shot and killed. And what happened, when they would go through a hallway, they would check a door. If it's locked, they go on. He would come out from behind the locked door, shoot him, and take off. This went on for 3 days before they finally killed him with 2 Marine helicopters downtown New Orleans with M60s, shot the rooftop just about off the Howard Johnson, and they finally killed him. A lot has been learned from that. But, so I mean, this has been going on and on and on. This isn't nothing that just started. Why they're so reluctant, to say this is a terroristic act, this is terrorism. You look at some Klan activity. I dealt with the Klan back in 96 to 99 in Cottonwood. And a lot of the problems we had were not even from the locals. They were from the Klan members out of Atlanta, Mobile, Gadsden, Alabama. It wasn't the locals. After Ferguson, they called me and asked me, well, what are you going to do if they start doing that here? I said, well, you know what? I hope they don't, but if they do, I'm sure we'll deal with it. But I look at it like this, we got good people here. And as I said in Cottonwood, the troublemakers weren't even from Cottonwood. Same thing in Ferguson. They weren't from Ferguson. They were outsiders. They come in, cause havoc, and leave. You know, I get so tired of hearing them talk about guns, guns, guns. We gotta do something with the guns. You know what? You show me a gun that's killed somebody without a human behind it, or maybe you dropped an accidental discharge, and I'll believe it. Guns don't kill people. People do. Mindset. You know, you set your mind to do something, you're going to do it, good or bad. A lot of times, lately, it's been working out bad. I mean, if guns are outlawed, if we can take the guns and outlaw them, everything's going to be great, okay? Because we've outlawed cocaine, we've outlawed heroin, we've outlawed marijuana, and, well, that battle's still going on. So, I mean, guns aren't going to be any different. Let's quit passing the blame. Start holding the ones accountable that commit these atrocious acts. You know, today I get ready to leave, and I had to go run an errand before I came here. And I watched the president on TV. I don't think America's as divided as they say it is. You know, right now we're going through some hard times. If you haven't been in law enforcement for a while, or you don't have a family history of law enforcement, there's not many people wanting to get in it right now. We're not the most liked in the media's eyes, and I'm not saying all media projects us that way, but we all know right now the ball's running about police and law enforcement. When I say police, that's all of us. We're all in blue. I don't care what color the uniforms are. Yeah, it's brotherhood. And we have choices to make. We have very short times to make the choices. We're not always perfect. We do make mistakes, and I'm going to tell you there's good and bad in everything. There's good and bad in law enforcement. I'm not going to sit here and say there's no bad apples. They are. But you can't hold it on everybody. Black lives matter. Hey, all lives matter. That's our job. No matter what state you go in this country, the 10 Commandments are law. They are criminal law in every state. So, you know, all lives matter. Murder is one of the most atrocious crimes we have in this state. You know, for one to say your life's valued more than mine, no, that's not true. I think a lot of us getting blown out of proportion. And when I heard it on the news the other night, yeah, it disturbed me. And we took a threat call come in Friday morning. I wasn't aware of it until it was actually posted on Wednesday. Now, if this would have been posted after Thursday, I would say, well, there's just somebody that's ticked off. Well, we just happen to know this person, and even though he was hiding behind his fictitious Facebook addresses, we found him Friday, and we're gonna pursue it. Well, we get this after, you know, it comes in Friday morning. DSDB, which stands for Deep South Dirty Boys. Still stand tall. We have so many trying to bring us down. But just know this, Dothan. You will be dealing with more than you can account for. Houston County has a slow response time, approximately 10 to 28 minutes. You've been tested. You failed. So with that in mind, please warn your families. You've been informed action is coming. I take that as a threat. You know, I don't know how, you know, some people may say it may not be. I do take it as a threat. And I take it as a threat to my deputies. You know, I came up in this department. I came up 37 years ago. And I still believe in what I believe in my department. And when I did apply for the interview with the Republican Party, I said there was two main concerns in my goal. One is the deputies of the Houston County Sheriff's Office, and the other ones were the citizens of Houston County. And that is against all, you know, You can stand out on the corner if you want with a sign, or you can stand behind a white hood. If you're wrong, and we're going to stop it. That's what we stand for. That's what we're going to do. Let me tell you, we're starting to deal more and more now. And you can say, go back to the red shirt deal. I'm not saying all Muslims are bad. I'm not saying that at all. I know when the Klan was here, if I'd have been at baseball where Dr. Young, anyway, I would have struck out. Because when the Klan came, number one, I was running the operations against them, setting up our department's security barrier for Cottonwood. Strike one. Strike two, I was a police officer. I went to sheriff's department. That was strike two. And third, I'm a Catholic. Okay? The Klan did not like Catholics. So I would have struck out. So I'm not saying all of them are bad, but we are dealing with a bunch of radicals right now. And if the shoe fits, my opinion is, put it on, Cinderella, and wear it. But if you're a radical, and some of the stuff that's going on is Sharia law, let me tell you, Sharia law is not a religion in my opinion. It's an ideology. It's a belief. And for them to try to implement this in our, in our society, you won't never sell me on that. I'll never be for that. We look at, everybody wants to look at over the siege. When I came here, I told some of the people in Dothan, I won't give their names, we didn't knock off all this racial because we have a serious situation here. We have a country that hates everybody here, and they're here. And we have our own homegrown sympathizers that are coming up. Do y'all know that one of the first documented U.S. citizens to go over and join Al-Qaeda, where they were located from? 18-year-old from Daphne, Alabama. He was killed 3 months later. When you think, jihadists, the way they think, it's not nothing we're used to. We look at some of the things that's happened in the most recent times. We look at the Boston bombers, Fort Hood, San Bernardino, the Navy recruiter station in Chattanooga, Philadelphia, where they walk up to the window and shoot the police officer in the car 9, 14 times, whatever they shot him. They execute 2 New York police officers sitting in their car, had no clue what was coming. If you'll pull up their religionofpeace.com, religionofpeace.com, they'll give you some statistics. I got the printout the other day. Since 9/11, around the world, which they list 42 countries, 28,589 people have been killed. And this was as of the first of the month. In 6 days, in 16 countries, 53 were killed. I'm sorry, 6 hours. 53 were killed. No, 53 attacks, 401 were killed, 412 injured in 6 hours. Okay? We're dealing with something right now. We look at the Orlando shootout. You realize the next day they killed 2? You can outlaw guns. The next day, 2 were killed over in another country by knives. They killed the chief of police and one of the officers with knives. I went to a school in December in New Orleans on radical Islam. One of the instructors was a guy from MI6, which is like really the real James Bond. And he was showing us different things going on around the world. He said, y'all need to get ready. It's coming. He said, one of the things they do, they'll sit back and wait for a separation of your country. Right now, it's off to a good start. We got to change it. We got to get people back together. Because right now, with the separation of our country, they're going to gain so many sympathizers to what their cause is. It's like when we had, we dealt with the sovereign citizens a couple of years ago. There's 32 police officers killed in a 1.5 year period by sovereign citizens. They don't believe in the government. They hate the government. you know, I mean, I don't like paying taxes either, but we do. Well, one guy we got from here, and I had my job in Montgomery was to ID the sovereigns when they showed up. And he was making $89,000 a month. Now, why would you not want to pay taxes if you were making that? You know, the other one was the president for the whole entire United States. Was in Skipperville. You know, he went off too. So, you know, this is simmered down some. The only thing that bothers me now is with some of the things going on, this is what they were saying, it's coming. This is exactly what they said was coming. So we're gonna face more than just, you know, radical movement, radical Islam. We're gonna face more than that. I won't be surprised if the sovereigns don't activate up again. I still can't. It just bothers me when the president says we're peacemakers. We are peacemakers. We go there when you're hurt. We go there when you're in a wreck. We go there if you have a question. You know, we do. We try to do everything. But when something happens like Thursday night, y'all know there was 5 more shot on Friday. There was 2 killed, or 2 shot Saturday. One of them here, Randolph, Alabama, on a hostage situation. They put out a purge. They were going to do a purge from 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. And I forgot how many hundred police officers were supposed to be killed in that period of time. We're going to purge our law enforcement flag. You know, pigs in the blanket. They're going to purge us. To the sovereigns, we're the same. We have so many groups right now that we're dealing with. You just need to really, we need to pull this country back together. And the only way it's going to happen, I'm not a politician. The only way it's going to happen is at the top. When the top talks down, people listen. The other night, when I was watching, I said 2 o'clock Friday morning, watching the Dallas incident. And when he did speak, all he wanted to talk about was how many black males, Hispanic males, were being stopped in traffic stops by white police officers. How many black males, Hispanic males, were sent to prison compared to white. Y'all, this isn't about separation. We're all one country. Black, white, Hispanic, we're all one country. No one is better than the other. But the top has got to stop making these comments and get our country back together. What it's going to take, I know what it's going to take. It's going to take him being put out of office. Well, he's going anyway, you know. But the damage is done. We're dealing with a lot of hard going every day. One little tidbit that was pulled up this morning, Chief Deputy Carlisle pulled up, mass shootings from the beginning to now. Under President Reagan, we had 11 mass shootings. Under President first Bush, we had 12. Under Clinton, we had 23. Under Bush, we had 16. And right now, we have 162. So times are changing. Times are a lot, you know, it's a lot more dangerous out there. I'm going to read you a little. You can tell I had a lot going on that night. I wrote a little saying that I was going to keep. I had no idea that it would come back. I got to find it. Give me a chance. If my daughter was here, I'd get her to help me do my phone. Okay. I was sitting around September 1st, 2015. Like I said, I had a lot to do that night. But I just put some stuff down and thought about it. And think about how it is today. To most of you, we're envisioned as the bad men and women who are infringing on your rights. Yet we know not who you are, who your friends are, or your family members. But when the call comes for help, 911, we respond as quickly as we can. matters not whether we know you, your family, or your friends. We put our families aside. We put our families aside to protect yours. Would you risk your life for someone you don't know? You're not asked to. We are, because that's our job. Now, war has been declared upon law enforcement. So think about it now. Would you do what we do? The only thing that keeps us going day to day is faith. And that's 99% of it. At least I feel that way. I'm not getting into here and pushing buttons. You know, we all know about what happened with the decal. I explained it once and I'll explain it again, okay? I'm not stirring nothing up. That decal, I'll tell you, in my 37 years, twice I had two deputies in our department kill themselves. Took their own lives. The only reason I came up with this was we had another situation going on with another deputy. And I was worried about that deputy. I put 27 supervisors in the Houston County Sheriff's Office through crisis intervention training to be able to recognize, well, Jeff has not been Jeff lately. You know, something's really bothering him. I hadn't seen him. Get him in and talk to him before he puts a bullet in his head. I didn't want to see that again. And with the times going on like they are, I put these on our vehicles. Didn't cost taxpayers nothing, I paid for it. Well, then I got slammed by the freedom of religion, Church Against State, the ACLU. I thought about doing what Frank McKeithen did with Bay County Sheriff, with the ACLU. They confronted him. Of course, his was in God We Trust. He said, well, you know, it depends on how you take it. And like I said, the guy in the ACLU said, what do you mean? He said, well, it could be ACLU. To me, that means all Christians love you. And it confused him so bad, he left. Well, they didn't believe me. You know, they threatened all kinds of stuff. But when you look at that, believe it or not, something simple as that, to us, our law enforcement, it does give you hope. It gives you hope things are going to get better. And a lot of this stuff is going to fizzle out, but we don't know what's going to happen until it does fizzle out. So, you know, in the meantime, we ask for your prayers. We ask all our government. Steve's got a tremendous job with Dothan. You know, we work city and county. We're not just out in the county. And I know if I call them, they're coming. Same with Chief Williams. We can have a fire in Gordon. If we call them, they're coming. We're all one. We need to stay that way. And we need to bring it back the way it should be. Just for those that don't know it real quick, and I'll end this up, I'll give you a little estimate on the size of the Houston County Sheriff's Office. We have 65 deputies. We have 10 part-time. We have 14 reserves. 12 of those are certified, which means they had the same training and arrest powers when they're on duty with us as regular deputies. We have 7 clerks, a budget specialist, and I have 20 in dispatch. That comes up to 117 on this side of the Sheriff's Department. The other side, we have the jail. They have 68 corrections officers, a chaplain, a clinic director, 3 nurses, a medical assistant, which is like the PA, and 3 clerks. Altogether, Houston County Sheriff's Office, we have 194 employees. It's come a long way. When I started, I think we had 22 deputies. I think we had 15 working in the jail. So yeah, we've come a long way. Our annual budget for our section of the department, $6,352,448. The budget for the jail, $5,281,347. You put them together, and it comes out $11,633,795. It sounds like a lot, but it's really not. When you're looking at operational, to operate the Sheriff's Department, not salaries, we're allotted $1,252,437. That's to take care of everything we have to do, natural disasters, you know, anything that comes our way. That's what we have to worry. Of course, Barkingham's good working with us. You know, we have to make amendments. They help us. We have 114 vehicles. Sounds like a lot. They sound like Solomon Chevrolet. A lot of them are Tahoes, but we didn't get them from Archie. I'll say this, we're the keepers of that Homeland Security for the state of Alabama, Region B, which covers 10 counties. And we got a little over, probably $2.5, close to $3 million in equipment right now. But our function, our job, we're the largest sheriff's department east of Mobile, south of Montgomery. So, but our job is to respond. Whether it's our SRT, our SWAT, our dive team, crime scene van, bomb disposal, whatever we have that covers that need, we go. And like I said, that's what we need to do. We need to do everything we can to serve the people. We all need to pull together. But until times come where things get better, I highly recommend you protect your family. There's only one way to do it. So, any questions?
I have one. What is the right thing to do if you're pulled over by a policeman or a sheriff, if you're the driving vehicle? What do you want us to do? You want us to get out our ID card and our insurance card, put our hands?
Well, I tell you, it's funny you ask that because I've gone through all kinds. In my career, I have over 4,300 hours of training. Of course, that's in 37 years. I have never gone through a class on when you get stopped. When you stop them, you look for this, you look for that, you look for that. They've never told me when you get stopped. The first time I got stopped, I did exactly what a gang member does. I didn't even think about it. I know what they say when they get stopped, watch them, they put their hands like this in the car. And I'm thinking, oh man, he's stopping me. Well, I thought, oh my God, this is what the gang members do. I was on one of our unmarked cars, so I mean, they knew. What you do is try to anticipate if you're going to get stopped, have your wallet or your driver's license out. I know it's sometimes it's a pain to have it out laying down, you get out, you forget it. But one thing that scares so bad is when you see a lot of movement in the car when you stop. I'll give you a good example. Several years ago, a good friend of mine, David, worked in Headland. He was working the night shift. About 10 o'clock at night, a car goes through the stop sign in Headland. He said, I don't even know if I was going to write him a ticket. I doubt it. I stopped it. I get out of my car. I start to walk up. He sticks a shotgun out the window. Boom! How he missed David, I have no idea. David calls out, shots fired. 5 of us from Houston County take off to Headland. Next stop sign, the guy hits the brakes. Boom! Blows himself all over the inside of that car. David's like, why was he shooting at me? He didn't realize it, neither did we. He had just killed a man in Ashford, and we found it the next morning. We found the man dead. But he thought David was stopping him because he just killed him. David had no idea. If you got your driver's license, the less movement you can do, number one, turn the dome light on if it's nighttime. Let the windows down in the back because the first thing they got to do is when they come up, thank goodness now, we're not like Mississippi and Florida. You can have smut black windows. When you come up, you want to see who's in it. As long as you don't see somebody doing this to you, you're pretty good. But turn your dome light on, let at least the back windows down, and just put your hands on the wheel. Just keep your hands up like this on the wheel. I mean, I'm not saying you're a criminal, but they deal with so much bad times in traffic stops. That's one of the only indicators we can actually see that we would feel good on. Have your ID where you can reach and get it, not dig in a box. There's many times when they open, I can see my console, they'll open it up, they say, they come out with a gun point blank. And there are videos all over YouTube about times like that. Keep your license where you can get to them easy. If you have a concealed carry, I highly recommend when you get stopped, hand them your driver's license and the concealed carry. And we tell them, blame it on the sheriff's department. Hand them your concealed carry, say, I do have a weapon in the car. And that way it doesn't alarm them, because when you come up on the car, if you have it on the seat or down on the floorboard, and he walks up and sees it, oh, let me tell you, the bells and whistles are going off. He's probably going to draw his weapon because it's within reach of you. So tell them that when you get stopped. So it does relieve them a little bit, and it brings them back down from a higher alert level.
If you show your concealed carry in that case, will they ask you to get your gun out, or are they gonna ask you to get out of the car, and then they're gonna look for your gun?
Each officer could be different. I would ask, where is your weapon? And if he says it's in the glove box, I would say, fine, don't touch it. Certain things, certain ways are certain done. Troopers, I don't think, ask you to get out of the vehicle until they're ready. And then they bring you up, like sit you next to them. Well, I would want to make sure you don't have it on you. But if you do say, well, I have it on me, he'll probably give you orders what to do. He may say, turn your back to me, raise your shirt up, and I'll remove it, until we get through, and then I'll give it back. But first question they should say is, where is the weapon? And that way, that brings it down another notch as far as the alert level.
What if you got that weapon in your hand? What you tell
You got the weapon in your hand? That's not a good sign. You may not know it's in your hand very long, hopefully. But no, that's not. Do not pick the weapon up and show the officer you have a weapon.
I was shot one night, and it wasn't an officer, and I did have it in my hand, and it saved my life.
Okay, you didn't get stopped by red, by blue.
No, I got shot by a group of thugs.
A thug? If you didn't have your gun in your hand, you're stupid. Okay? No, I'm telling you, you have a right to protect yourself. Let me tell you something. 2007, Alabama passed a castle law. We've had 4 castle shootings since then. Mainly, it's inside your house. 3 of them were domestic. Under Glover, we had 17 homicides under Glover's administration. 13 were domestic. We had 3 of the 4 home invasions. Well, all 4 were actually domestic. 3 were inside. We had 1 outside. And I was like, oh my gosh. It describes this, but it doesn't do this. And a little old 75-year-old man sitting on his front porch. His daughter marries this thug, and they go live in Montgomery. He beats her up. She comes home. Daddy puts her in a mobile home next to the house. They get back together. He sets fire to the mobile home. Daddy's got him on video. It's pending grand jury. Daddy puts her in a little camper. He comes over, beats the windows out of the camper, beats the windows out of her car. Daddy goes outside with a .22 rifle. Boom, 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 boom. Thank goodness Daddy missed it. Daddy would have been wrong. He calls and says, I'm coming, and I'm going to kill him. He says, Mike, don't come to my house now. I don't want no trouble. Don't come to my house. No, I'm coming to kill him. You're not going to hurt my girl no more. On the front porch in a rocking chair. Truck pulls up. He's got a guy in the truck with him, so we do know what he's saying. He says, no, man, don't do this. No, man, I'm going to show him. He gets up, walks in the man's yard. Man said, don't come to my yard. Shot 1 time in the ground with a .357 Magnum. He goes, old man, you're next. Boom! Dead. And I'm going, oh man, it's in the yard, it's not in the house. We called Doug. Doug comes to the scene. We showed him the history, what was traveling up to that event. The response was, that's a good shot. You have a right to protect yourself. And you do. But now, theft, somebody stealing your gas or your boat or something, no, you don't have the right to kill them. When Alabama went in 2013, and now they brought this other section, they sort of picked up Florida's stand your ground. If you're getting beat and you think, I'm honest to God, I'm fixing to die, you do have a right to use deadly force. You and your wife are in a restaurant, I can tell you this. I'm not saying we're going to jump up and pull a gun on you. Hey, sheriff's department. No, you're going to jeopardize people. But I can tell you this, I'm not going to be a hostage either, because I know what happens to hostages. You keep that weapon. That's why I say I'm not big, and those that see me out, if you see me at Walmart, yesterday was 97 degrees, I had a vest on. Yeah, it looks stupid. But just that quick glancing with the eyes, they don't see me with a gun. But I'm telling you, open carry. They know you got a gun. It's legal. They know you got a gun. You're going to die first. I tell them, I've never seen, you know what a hostage is? Everybody knows what a hostage is. Everybody knows what the hostage taker, that's the bad guy. I've never seen a hostage taker let the hostage keep his gun while he negotiates with police. Okay? As long as they don't know it, you and your wife will stand a chance of surviving. I had a little old man at Bluff Springs Church I spoke to one day, and he said, I ain't gonna shoot nobody. I said, well, I'm not asking you to. How long y'all been married? 49 years. I said, well, good, you're ready to give her up then, aren't you? No, I love my wife. I said, let me tell you something. You protect yourself and your wife, because if they ever take her, there's a good chance you're never gonna see her again. So if I'm gonna go doing what I think I need to do to save my family.